Bam, we're live. Andrew Hiller put out a video the other day that showing my interview with Stacy Tovar, and I actually hadn't seen that. I never went back and saw it after the New York Times wrote that article mashing me, and then David Katrin's daughter reposted what the New York Times said about me in regards to that video I made. And when Andrew reposted it, I'm like, holy shit, I'm a fucking hero. In that video, I asked Stacy Tovar about her period, and thank you, Andrew, for pointing that out to me. Andrew Hiller posted it in the section he posts. I'm asking Stacy about the pill that she's on, and she says that she thinks she would have performed better if she wouldn't have been on that pill based on what the other athletes told her, that they got significantly stronger when she got off that pill. It's a fucking gem. Not only should every female athlete should see it, every male athlete should see it, every man should see it, every woman should see it. Anyone who's in the world of fucking procreating, anyone who has genitalia should see that video. Yet I lost my job because of it. I don't know because of it, but the CEO that used to be here, Eric Rosa, said that when he saw the New York Times article, which was based off of that video, he said Sevon should resign. Yep, he said that. But I want to show you what I saw yesterday from the LGPA. Someone sent me this, and it's interesting. This is once again because Andrew dug this up. I think that's the women golf thing.
LPGA. You said GPA. Maybe you said it right, and I heard it wrong.
It's the one with the stick and the little ball. Can we play this video? The reporter's asking, I think, one of the top ladies in the field, "Hey, what's up? Why are you playing like shit?" And this is her response.
Come out and give you a little physical therapy as well. Is that a concern moving forward?
I hope not. It's that time of the month. I know the ladies watching are probably like, yeah, I got you. So when that happens, my back gets really tight and I'm all twisted, and it's not the first time that Chris has seen me twisted, but it felt a lot better after he came. So yeah, there you go.
Thanks.
I know you're lost for words, Jerry.
Come out.
Ironically, that was the same reason why Jason Hopper did so poorly at the games last year. He was also having his period, but that's not my point. My point is I did an interview with Stacy Tovar. New York Times painted it like I was doing something bad. Katrin, David's daughter, reposted it because she didn't fucking fact check, or she hates women and their menstrual cycles being talked about. Who the fuck knows? But I just thought it was great that it was like kind of like dug up and brought up to the front again by Andrew Hiller. And thank you. It got me all riled up. It makes me realize why this podcast is going to be bigger than all of CrossFit Inc. in less than 5 years.
All we try to do is get you riled up. That's all we want.
Thank you.
Brings out the best in you.
I love being riled up.
Get them all pissed off.
I absolutely loved getting up this morning at 6 o'clock and watching the teams. I loved watching Angelo DeChico and could we send Angelo a link, Matt? Yep. I loved watching Angelo and Luke Parker. Angelo DeChico, Luke Parker, Sasha Nieves, and Alexis Johnson. Thank you, JR. I loved watching them know that we got up early to watch them, and therefore they put on a show for us, winning in the final seconds, which we also got that same show just now in the men's rope climb event. We also saw that Sevon is, even amongst all these brainiacs in the sport, he couldn't be more correct with Sydney Michelishin. She is yeah, I'm pumped. Have you guys had a chance to watch everything that happened today, that transpired today?
Of course.
Let's start with the teams then. Mayhem Independence went into this morning's event number 3 sorry, Susan, I know you're juggling stuff. Could we see the leaderboard for teams? Yes. They went in second place and now they're tied for first. Is that what happened?
The Mayhem team? They weren't tied for first. They've been in first the whole time, I believe.
Oh, okay. I didn't check the board. I thought I heard them say that they were 5 points behind the CrossFit Squadron.
No, okay. No. Yesterday when you were getting all crazy at your party, we were trying to tell you that they finished second on that one workout due to those chest to bar pull-ups from the other team, likely. Okay. Is that what you're talking about? You heard that they finished second on that event?
No, maybe. I thought I heard either Sean or Tanya say that today on the feed, but I probably was wrong.
No, it's okay. You can be wrong sometimes. You're right about Sydney.
So these guys are in. These guys are they're going. Bar some sort of crazy accident. No one can knock these guys out of the top 5. Is that correct?
It would appear so.
Are you impressed?
They're on fire.
Are you impressed, JR, with these guys? Or are you like, yeah, of course, it's mayhem?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the performance I expected from them.
Any signs of Angelo not being the athlete he used to be? He was injured. This is his first kind of foray back into the game, right?
I think he was individual at the MACC last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he finished 7th individual at the MACC last year.
Yeah, I want to say
off the top of my head. I'll check it real quick.
Was he in the last chance or maybe one spot out of the last chance?
Mid-Atlantic team. He finished 7th. Yeah, that was good. Nice job, Andrew. Pat on the back. And then, what did he do with the last chance? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, so in my head, I was thinking that this is him just kind of dabbling again, feeling it out, but that's not the truth. We have a guy who was a world-class kids CrossFit Games athlete, came back last year, did extremely well, and now he's gotten on a team. Okay. What? Tell me, I don't know anything about Alexis Johnson. Has she ever gone individual? Is she a good athlete?
Yeah, she's been at the games before. She was with Misfit for a long time, but she's a veteran.
Okay, so this is a legitimate team. This isn't like just something. Oh, look at these guys; they just kind of fell together and are getting lucky. This is a world-class team, but they just don't get the recognition they deserve because they're next to the rich guy.
I would have to say, they're probably looked down just a tad because they're next to the Mayhem Freedom team, but they're a world killer.
And they said in the show that time in workout 3 of 11:55:21 was the second fastest time so far that any team had put up in that event. I guess that was one of the events that was required by CrossFit this year, of one of 2 events, and the only team that's beat them so far was Daddy's team, Rich's team, Mayhem Freedom.
Daddy. By 35 seconds.
Oh, 35 seconds.
I guess that's the difference between the 2 times. Wow.
Okay. I thought I heard 5 seconds. Angelo and Luke, they passed the guy in the final rope climbs. Is that, and we saw that play out in the men's event too, the men's individual event. Is that a strategy that every athlete should pay attention to? That right around, like if you're going to make all the rope climbs, to kind of just stay right behind the guy to set a pacer. And if you're strong on the rope climbs, just stay behind him, because on the 9th and 10th, they're going to start to hurt and you can pass them.
I think we were talking about DeChico coming down the rope, right?
Was that where he did it? Is that, do you think that's where he got his speed?
It's totally a factor. The people who know how to come down the rope definitely had the upper hand. And I remember listening, I keep on referencing the Ben Smith podcast because his podcasts are so good. But in the Ben Smith, he was talking about the fact that it became how risky are you going to be jumping down off the top of the rope, more so than it was either a running or a rope climb event. It was how much of a risk are you willing to take to throw yourself to the floor as quick as you can do it, to then get down the floor to either finish the event in this case, or to round after round increase your likelihood of winning.
Let me ask this: does the descent also affect the fatigue?
Yes, if you know how to just barely squeeze with your thighs and slide, and then maybe make one contact with your hands on the way down, it makes a huge difference.
Because
you have to have seen it, right? They have that one grip at the bottom. After they tap, they have one grip, and then their legs kind of pop out, and then they're off to the races.
Danielle was already struggling on the 7th rope climb. And she, that 10th rope climb, that was a nail biter. She didn't go up any faster than we saw Brooke Wells go up when Brooke Wells failed.
Yep.
I mean, that was it's cool. That's like one of the best parts of the sports. Isn't it so uncomfortable watching a superstar like Brooke just have to sit there and wait? Like as a fan, you start wiggling around in your seat and shit.
I think this is part of what we were talking about. It was a good event for the females, not so much for the males. Go ahead, JR.
was gonna say, I think it's really cool too to watch the different styles and the way people attack workouts. I mean, when you think of Danielle, you think of like a killer, someone that attacks. And she went out on her first few rope climbs like she was going for a world record. And she just said, you know what, the fatigue's gonna come. I'm just gonna let it come as it's going to. And when I have to slow down, I'm gonna slow down. But then if you watch Sydney and you watch Dallin especially, the pace just was clear from the beginning. This is my pace. I'm gonna do the first shuttle run and the first legless like I hope to do the 10th.
Yeah, good point. We'll come back to Dallin. That's a very good point about how Dallin ran that and ended up doing fantastic, right? In the last 5 seconds, the whole story changed in the men's heat. Shelby Neal, devastating. A character out there that I'm sure everyone was slowly starting to fall in love with. Easy to just love. So cool. She got that red hair. It's all tied up tight. She looks so young out there. And then basically on her knees at the end when capped and chest heaving, right? Like you could see, like crying like a baby. That's hard.
That's very interesting to me. It's interesting because, and very much like you call it the circle of death, like the sharks are now swarming around and they're cheering for the athlete at the end. And I mean, if I were in that situation, this event in particular, you kind of know how it's going to play out, right? So she finished 5th, she finished 3rd, and then she finished 30th. And it would be very hard for me to believe that she had anything outside of that being an expectation. And sure, I'm sure it's still hard in the moment to deal with, but you said she's heaving, she's all upset. It's like, I don't really understand the upset because you could do this event. Every athlete has probably done it once or twice to know what it's like, get the transitions under control. And she probably should have known that it's likely she wasn't going to finish. And at which rate I would be super pissed off, like, get the fuck away from me. I know that I wasn't going to do too hot. Like, cheering me on's not going to get me up this fucking rope.
JR, you think she knew ahead of time that this was going to be a bad one for her?
I do. I actually talked to her just for a second briefly in the warm-up area right before she went out and just gave her a hug, congratulated her on an awesome first day. And I said, you're killing it. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, so far. And when she said that, it kind of gave me that look. I was like, okay, like I know now that something coming is not something that she's super excited about, whether it's this workout or the next workout or the last workout. But, you know, athletes know, and athletes, most of them are pretty self-aware as far as how they are stacked up to a field. But I will say, when you have everyone down there holding, you know, cheering you on, if they're doing anything but telling you to rest more, they're not helping you.
100%.
Because I saw so many athletes in all the heats go way too early, you know, and then I would see an athlete in round 9 that would rest a little bit, get up the rope, go do their shuttle run and come back and get ready to go up again. And I'm saying to myself, wait. It's been 15 seconds since the last one. You just took a minute rest to get the 9th one. So you need to be resting almost 2 minutes to get this one. But it's so tough. I mean, I know 10 seconds feels like 30 seconds.
And then again, you see Tia Toomey in the crowd where they're wasting one of the camera angles on Tia Toomey sitting there yelling at Brooke Wells to go. They're like, come on, Brooke. Just drives me nuts. Piggybacking off what you're saying, like, don't tell them to go. Like, yeah, tell them to slow down. Like, make sure that the climb that they take is worth the climb they're going to take.
Tia looked more stressed than Brooke.
She's like, let me do it for you. I'll put you on my back. I'll climb you up the rope for you.
What place is Kelly Clark in currently in the women's division here? I don't even see her in the top 11. Where is she? Oh, great. Okay. Is she going to be fighting at that bubble all week? You guys have any thoughts? I think Brian had her in his top 5 that she's going.
I don't know very much about Kelly Clark. 35 years old.
I asked about her. She's a local girl for me. I went to her fundraiser for the semifinal. I bought the raffle tickets. My kids won the backpack. She's a phenomenal specimen as a human being. She's got great support staff around her. Oh, she's 35 too. Is she the oldest in the top 5?
Yes.
Yes, I would have to say so.
Of course,
yeah. Oh yeah.
By like 10 years.
yeah. Well, even more, right?
Yeah, on some
13 years.
Yeah. 26, 22, and then 35.
Well, she's got good finishes, 7th, 11th, and 8th. And how about this lady, Rebecca Fuselier?
Fuselier.
Did any of you guys have her in your top 5?
No, but that might change quick. We did that top 3 to start off the weekend, and no, I don't believe any of us had her in the top 3, let alone the top 5.
And Brooke Wells didn't fall that far down the standings. She is still only 10 points out of qualifying for the games. Are you guys surprised that a 23rd place finish it would only put you in 6th place after 3 events?
No, I'm not surprised, because she has a first place finish, which gives her 100, and it's one of those where having a first really kind of counteracts having one of those that low as well.
What were you going to say, Taylor?
Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't surprise me at all, because she was sitting in first after the first 2 events.
There were some nice camera angles in the beginning there where you could see Danielle and Cindy Mikulishin running side by side. It doesn't even look like the same creature. Danielle's so light on her feet, like almost effortless on her toes. And Cindy Mikulishin more has like that Annie Thorsdottir kind of like lumbering run. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, but Sydney's rope climb technique was awesome. I mean,
her declines were nuts.
She was
right?
one of the few females that actually, reach with your right knee, pull with your right arm, reach with your left, pull with your left. And it was really in sync, like she was walking up the rope. You spoke about Danielle almost struggling on rep 7, but her technique with using her hips wasn't nearly as fluid.
I feel like Danielle had more like a side to side kip, whereas Mikulishin's was driving straight up, and her descent was nuts.
I would have to say that piggybacking off of she runs lumbery, and Danielle runs like she's light on her feet. It's almost the side to side sway movement is a more athletic indicator. So Danielle appears to be more of an athletic type person, and Mikulishin appears to be a brick shithouse who can just like haul her ass up the rope. And you'll see it kind of all the way across the board with anybody, where they go hand in hand. Just like athleticism is something that's born in you, and maybe Danielle has that, and Mikulishin is just more of a brute, which is okay. It works for both of them.
Sydney seemed to win easy using that pacing that JR talked about in the beginning. She stayed in her game. Mm-hmm. That's what she did. She didn't deviate, but it actually, Noah finished across the finish line and he looked like he had just done Fran. He was exhausted. Sydney didn't even see that. It was just like maybe even she left some in the tank. Like she didn't even leave it all on the floor. I never saw her
about
struggle.
The end of the rope climb workout. Noah Olsen seemed gassed. Yeah, that's very interesting, because I don't understand that at all. Do you guys, Taylor? Do you understand? I mean, you're like peak shape right now for the most part, right? Would that workout even get you anywhere near gas?
I did it a few times, and every time I did it at the end, like in round 9, I felt gassed. Maybe less winded. It was more of like a lactic threshold workout where like I just felt like I was pretty full of lactic acid, but also definitely breathing hard. It's not like you're not breathing hard. If you think of doing 2 minutes straight of shuttle runs and you're running as hard as you can in terms of getting back to the rope, obviously without having run so hard that you can't make a rope climb, but you're running as fast as you can at that capacity for 2.5, 3 minutes. Yeah, for sure. It doesn't surprise me that a lot of them are gassed.
I got a little insight into that, which is, did you do the Wodapalooza qualifiers, Taylor? I think the team ones are different than the individual.
I did not do qualifiers.
So the qualifier had an event where it was a max set of toes to bar into a 2K row into a max snatch. And when I first did it, I had done something like a month where I was trying to really keep my carbs low. I was just trying to play with the diet a little bit. And when I did that 2K row, it was like a 6:49, and I felt like the first one was a 7-minute 2K row, and I felt completely smashed, and that was like a very bad 2K row for me. I've done a 2K as quick as like 6:34, and I was like, what's going on? And I realized it had to have been the carbs, so I redid the workout a couple days later after intaking a bunch of the sugar that Savan hates so much, and the difference was 10 seconds or so. So I took a bunch of time off of it, felt way better about it, and the entire time I was going about it, I was waiting for that terrible feeling of just death that looked like Noah Olsen at the end of that finish right there. And the entire offseason, all Noah's been talking about was his like trying to drop the body weight, tinkering with his diet. So what I'm getting at with all of this is I think that it's very possible that the tinkering of the diet might very well be playing into his performance this weekend. So he's trying to get his body weight down. Maybe he's not taking enough carbohydrate. Does that make sense to you guys?
100%.
Yeah,
I've never had that issue. I think a lot of athletes, you've heard Matt talk about it, but he talks about trying to gain weight over the course of a competition.
Correct. Yeah.
And I've always tried to be that way. In sport, I've always tried to eat a lot around my practice. I don't really have issues with like competing or training with not like I'm, bursting, but on a full stomach, I'm okay. And so I always try to have a lot of carbs. And I think that's exactly what I've always thought about Noah is it seems like he's too lean for his own good. And he's maybe not fueling as well for performance as he could.
I'll tell you, it was just unbelievable the difference between like 2 days and like kind of a carb load, if you will. And it was basically just a bunch of Gatorade. And it made everything feel way better, finished way quicker, snatched better. And Noah just looks like he's probably depleted.
Yeah. And then imagine training on that carb intake for a month leading into competition, as opposed to, like you said, tinkering with his diet and probably not.
Look at this fucking guy. You can see the separation in his pec minor major right there. It's incredible.
Yep.
The vascularity in his fucking arms.
Yeah, and his triceps.
He needs to drink a glass of water.
He needs to drink a glass of water.
So you think he's dehydrated? Yeah, he looks like one of those guys who went through a movie dehydration cut.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, it's good for the clout though. He's fucking ripped.
Yeah, he's a Gymshark athlete. He's got to keep up the appearance. It doesn't matter how he performs. He's got to look the part. So for the pictures.
Somebody put a comment in here and just said he's just going after all that camera time for his Gymshark sponsorship. So maybe that's it. Just look good as shit, get out in front, get that camera time, and get paid, baby.
He could just be getting old too, man. What about just getting old?
No way.
No
way.
He looks almost as lean as JR.
Yeah, well, that's coming from the guy who missed the games this year, so he's got to hope that you can keep going when you're old.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have missed it, but it's okay.
Yeah, and what about what John George says? He always looks ripped. Oh shit! Maybe it's all that Monster he's been drinking.
He's been drinking the sugar-free Monsters. He needs to drink the sugar Monsters.
Yes, you must drink. Listen, you fucking knuckleheads. I was at a party last night.
Here we go.
I was at a party last night after staying up. I hardly sleep at all. I went to a party last night at interrupted my party, started doing the podcast. I was exhausted. and I filled up a glass with ice, fancy ice made from this expensive fancy freezer. There was a Monster Energy drink in the fridge. I poured a little in there because I wanted the caffeine. I put a little Tito's and sodas in there. I put sparkling water in there. And then one of my jackass friends who's at the party goes, "Oh, let me see that. Pour some in there. Let's do a little stunt and freak people out."
You got friends?
Yeah,
I thought we were your only friends.
I think it was more than a little Tito's the way you were acting last night on that podcast.
Well, it was maybe more than little Tito's, but it's just a little bit of Monster. And I drank it for the caffeine. Yes, guilty. Fuck. And I've never talked shit about the sponsorship. I've always said everyone should get all the money they can, but you should not let them make you lie about the drink. You should still be able to say, yes, I'm sponsored by Monster, but I would never drink that shit. But lay off. I needed some caffeine. Crying out loud. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, you did 4 podcasts.
And it was a joke. You think that was it's like someone caught me? That was a joke. Sons of bitches. Can we see the guy, Suzo? What, JR? I would like you to study this footage very closely. We can play it as many times as you want, and give me your best thoughts on what the fuck happened here. This is like something like you see deer do, like on Instagram, like trying to jump over a highway or something.
Oh, I saw this kid.
Oh my goodness.
That one.
I would just say depth perception is way off.
Came up a little short.
Hey, so you bring up a good point. Colton, that's not funny. So I want to play one more time, but do you think, how they say you're not supposed to wear black when you're competing because then it's hard for the judges to see whether you're low parallel. So do you think that those curtains, is that another safety issue we've just discovered? Those curtains are black. Do you think that's what happens?
Thought it was.
You just have no idea where the corner of the stage.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it's because it's all black. There's something in photography called Shit, what's the word? I wish Heber was here so I could ask him. He would know. Or Jay Vera. Fuck, what is that word? But it's basically how much you can see into the shadows of a picture. So like when my kids pee in the car and the little toilet in there, they don't understand that people outside can't see in because it's sunny outside, right? You only have such a range to see between brightness and darkness, and that's what happened there. That black, he couldn't see where the corner is. Can we play that again, Sousa?
You compared the stage to your child peeing in the car.
I tried. It was a fail. I know. Oh, he's lucky he's not hurt.
Yeah,
for sure.
Took a shitter.
So I was trying to connect to Wi-Fi in the venue, and I'm walking backstage, and Jason and O'Keefe are sitting there talking to each other. So I walk up. I'm like, hey, guys, what's up? Hey, O'Keefe, do you have the Wi-Fi? And he looks at me and says, who the fuck do I look like?
He big-timed you.
He big-timed me. I felt kind of bad because I didn't say what's up. I was just like, hey, what's the Wi-Fi?
Oh, shit. What if he's like, who the fuck do I look like? Then he's like, it's Hotel 563.
Oh, I wish.
I'm the guy who can talk you best.
Wait, this is not real.
Hey,
that's just not real.
That is real. That is, of course, that's Dave. We have Fikowski, Dave, and Tommy Marquez. They love this show. What about the guy, speaking of Matt O'Keefe and Jason Hopper, what about the guy out there in this last event, the rope climb event 3, who was out there struggling with the last 2 rope climbs with the HWPO shirt on?
Tim.
At
Nick. Some point, does Matt just walk out there on the floor and just rip the shirt off him? like, sorry, buddy. Like, just seriously, like, just walk out there and just tear the shirt off him. No.
I wonder. He just has to follow the program, right? And then he's represented by program. He doesn't work with Matt directly.
No, he had another coach in the coaches area, and I forget what. He looked familiar, but also I don't.
That guy is the guy that James was talking about. Is he knows him rather close, and he's coming back from his PED suspension.
This guy, Nick Thomas, correct.
Right. I looked it up. It was Ostarine he took. And from James, he said that his woman tainted his supplements.
Oh, yes.
The old crazy ex-girlfriend story.
Right.
God, that would be that. I'd be so fucking pissed.
Break up with me.
What did you do?
Wow. Hey, we need to find out how that happened.
We gotta get her on the show.
Him on the show.
No, it's her on the show.
I want her on the show.
Hey, do you think if I dated that chick, I could put on some muscle?
For sure. You get a Gymshark sponsorship. This thing, I take it to the podcast to the moon.
What do you think she's thinking when she slips Ostarine into his cranberry juice?
She's like, he wants him to go. She wants him to go to the games.
Hey, here's the craziest thing. It was one of those Rhino pills from the gas station. She didn't realize there was banned substance in there.
Is that true?
No.
Oh.
One of those blue hornets.
Horny goat weed? Dude, I took a whole bottle of that one time.
And blew your knee out. You took a whole bottle of that and blew your knee out.
I was like 13, dude.
His hair fell out.
Oh, did you really? Did that make your dick painfully hard?
I mean, I was 13. It was always painfully hard.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. God. As Brooke crossed the finish line, I want to give mad props to Tia. Tia grabbed her and forced her into kind of this bear hug. Like, basically, what I saw there is just taking any of that negativity that she might have carried over the finish line away from her. Like, hey, I love you. It doesn't matter. You did great. And then when they came out of the hug, the first face that Brooke saw was Tia smiling, relaxed face, no wrinkle, no furrowed brow. I thought it was just this great moment of fantastic parenting is the way I saw it. I guess other people would see it as fantastic coaching, but took the weight off of her, right? Like, hey, we can mourn about this later. You did great. You finished. Let's keep going. I mean, that could be devastating, right? A 23rd place finish, be standing out there. You're a world-class athlete, and fucking Bailey Rail just fucking put a clinic on you.
Have you seen the Michael Jordan documentary?
Yep.
The Last Dance, Stefan?
No, I haven't. I heard it's awesome.
It is awesome. And the reason I bring that up is because it's just very interesting that there's two types of people in sports, and there's this, which you're bringing up, which is Tia's trying to say, oh, it's okay. And then you got people like Jordan in his sport. And basically, if something like that happened, he would have attacked it differently. Let's just say that.
But maybe she will attack it differently with Brooke later. But now I thought she handled it perfectly. And she didn't even say anything so much as what she did, the way she forced her into that. I just like she wasn't going to let, like, for all she knew, Brooke could have and I don't know Brooke this well, or I don't know what would have happened. Brooke could have like finished and pouted, right? But Tia didn't even allow her to pout. Just like, let's get through it. We got 3 more events.
But you never know this too. You never know over the last month since they've known that workout's coming out. We have no idea what the expectation was on that event. If you've ever hurt an elbow, or you've ever done too many rope climbs like an idiot, or pegboards like an idiot, Taylor, you know that if you overdo it on certain movements, your elbow is the thing that gets the most painful. Maybe.
You guys hurt this thing doing that pegboard stunt?
Right.
Mine's still fine. No, I'm not.
Right. So maybe I'm not sore. Maybe this workout was the one of all the workouts this weekend she was the most concerned about being able to finish, being able to perform well, because of pain in the elbow. We don't know that. I mean, that's very likely.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
That's a really
Savon, you've had a bummed out elbow?
No, it's not bummed out. But when I used to do a shitload of pegboards, like a shitload, and sometimes this thing would flare up right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm all fucked up.
Yeah, that thing would flare up, and I could make it flare up if I start fucking around with certain movements. But it's like tennis elbow or something. It's whatever's attached to that bump right there.
And I wonder if that had to do with
golfers.
But the embrace with Tia too, because maybe Tia was kind of like giving her the like, hey, this is what we were afraid about. To JR's point, this is what we were afraid about. We knew this was going to be a possibility. It happened. Shake it off. Let's move on. Because I mean, think about the high to the low, right? You had the handstand walk, overhead squat event yesterday. She takes first, crushes it. That could have been an issue with the elbow. Then today, coming into this event, and now we see her in a 23rd at the end of this one. So you have a real high and a low there. So maybe Tia was just kind of reminding her, like, stay focused. We knew this wasn't going to be our event here.
Correct. I like that.
I'm you people in the comments on the games thing too. Stop making fun of Nikki Brazier. It's like, dude.
Who's making fun of Nikki?
There's people on the side people on the side are just ripping her for questions. Like, dude, she's in front of the entire fucking stadium. It's being streamed. She has 1 minute to ask these guys some questions. Half these guys can't even talk.
they talk. Oh my God, the things they say.
Don't talk so good. Some of them.
They don't. Hey,
give her a break, for fuck's sake.
I have mad sympathy for Nikki Brazier out there, because if you've noticed my foul up when Mr. TDC came on, out of all the questions I ask, I go, hey, Dave, what do you think about these events?
Hey, you got a lot of compliments I saw on YouTube. You did great yesterday.
Oh, did I? I avoided it. I avoided it.
Did Daddy
you like
was there drunk?
Daddy was there drunk. Fucking Taylor fucking dropped the ball and didn't show up. I mean, I thought you killed it.
How'd you like this thing?
Oh my gosh, that filter is trippy.
Did you see that, Savon?
I did. That was amazing.
Somebody made my morning.
That was Matt the whole time.
Speaking of dumb questions, let me open with this really stupid question that fantasizes me. Is it part of my fantasy? No. What? It's fascinating to me. Jeez, talk about Freudian. Why are the dudes shirtless in the rope climb event? That seems just hairball.
Slowing them down, baby.
They're flexing.
I get the flexing. It's fun. I want them to have their shirts off. But what about rope burns and all that shit?
I get it on my belly when I do like this. Like when I slide down, it gets right.
Well, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I
wear the shirt.
And you're skinny too, and you're thin too. It's not like you have a belly that protrudes.
Taylor's not thin. He's
thinner than you think.
Would you say you're thin?
He's thinner than you think. He looks stout, but when he takes his shirt off, like he did at Wadapalooza, he's a runner swimmer guy. He ain't no fucking Mora. He ain't no Mexican Mora.
Dude, my upper back is easily as big as Luis Oscar Morris. He just doesn't have a neck, and he's 5'4".
By the way,
JR,
he did
is he
real well in that
thin?
workout.
JR, when you bathe Taylor before you put him away at night, is he thin?
He's actually thicker than you think he is.
He is.
Nah,
Okay.
I think Taylor's a thick dude. Aren't you 200 pounds right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At
it is a
5'9"?
dumb question. It is a dumb
That's
question. Your guys are saying it's a dumb question. People just it's a rope climb with the shirt off. It's not a big deal.
I do every workout with the shirt off for the most part, so that might just be how people are more comfortable working out.
To sell image.
Oh, well, I like that.
It's because, well, here's the other thing I was thinking about. I was just thinking about this because I was, walking around backstage asking everyone for Wi-Fi, and they were like, "Nah, fuck you." It's for real media. But I was just thinking, the place has a lot of spectators for sure. But I wonder how much work goes into the media and the production side to make that event look so much cooler than it actually is in person.
Is it not that cool in person?
It's cool. And I'm sure it's cool for the athletes, but I'm thinking if you're going out there as an athlete and you make a lot of money on your sponsorships, you're probably doing everything you can for your photos, for your product that you're pushing.
Like painting half your eyebrow pink.
Exactly. Shaving a little line in it like a killer.
God, she looks good. I can't stand hair dye and makeup and fake titties and that shit, but damn, she looks good. I don't know how she does it. We're not all created equal. It's not, life is not fair. I was criticizing the camera angles from the front on one of the shows that when you see the athletes from the front squatting, you cannot see depth. Today, I saw Angelo DeChico and Luke Parker from the worst possible fucking angle being shot, and it's so obvious because they're great movers that they went below depth. There's no fucking question that they went below depth. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's that front head-on shot, and you're never like, is that questionable? And it just goes to show you that I mean, I have to guess that that's just the Rich Froning. Hey, we have full range of motion.
Leave no doubt.
Yeah.
When you're looking from the front, if you can see the taint pass below the crotch, then you know they've hit.
Swollen taint.
That's the official.
I just took a mental note on that one. Every single time I look at a squat, I have taint below the crotch. Okay, check. check.
Hey, that's the that's straight from the L1 guide.
I have a little bit of a follow-up on a couple of these things from yesterday, actually, if we want to talk about some stuff from yesterday.
Please. Can I just tell you one story real quick?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would tell you a story yesterday that came to mind about Dave. It's a little off subject, but I think you guys will like it.
All right, this is a good one.
So we went to Dale Saran, the general counsel at the time of CrossFit Inc., and Greg and I went to Houston. I thought it was Cape Canaveral, but that's in Florida. But it's a famous Kennedy Space Station. We basically went to Houston, and there was an astronaut there who wanted to do CrossFit in space on the space station. And in the space station, there's some issues. You couldn't masturbate on there. You couldn't have sex on there. You can't do anything that has like a steady rhythm because and he was telling us this was his story, because it has those giant solar panels on the side. And if those things start going to any like steady, consistent movement that's in the space station, they'll start moving to that beat and they can just snap off.
Oh,
I was like, wow. So they had a bunch of equipment out there that they wanted to show Greg that they had developed so that you could work out on the space station. And so that this one particular astronaut could do the open. No shit. And it was I'm telling you, it was some ghetto shit. Like the solutions were like giant steel. Yeah. Yes. It was like that, duct tape and springs and just like, it was like, when you're a kid and you open up a ballpoint pen, you're like, this is what's inside. This spring pushes this and clicks that, and that's it. And you're like, wow, it was like that. But anyway, so Dale and I both tested out some of the equipment, and it was cool, and it was pretty funny. And so they decided that they're going to do the open there. And so we come back home, and we're at the Home Depot Center. And not only are they going to do the open there, but they're going to start the CrossFit Games that year from the space station. We're going to have a satellite feed directly to them live. And the guy's going to go 3, 2, 1, or welcome to the CrossFit Games, 3, 2, 1, go. And NASA says, we'll do it, but we will not say the CrossFit Games because we cannot say a trademark name.
Why is that?
Just because it's a government agency, I guess. They won't, you know what I mean? The same reason why Matt Fraser won't take a picture of sitting on a motorcycle unless the company's sponsoring him. I don't know. Right? They refused. And so guess what Dave told NASA?
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. We don't want you then. And guess what NASA did?
They fucked themselves.
No, they're like, we'll do it.
Really?
Oh.
And they said it. The fucking space agency stood up to this fucking guy and said, we won't do it. And this fucking guy, our leader, our SEAL Team 6 operative, who defended our freedoms to speak, to say whatever we want on Twitter, who programmed the games for us, which made us know that it's someone really fucking cared and had the highest level of integrity, told NASA, go fuck yourself if you can't say the CrossFit Games. NASA's like, okay, we'll say it. Savage.
What year was this?
TDC CEO. I can't remember. Get your shirt now. Vindicate. I think that was a great commercial for my brand. I made up the whole thing. None of that's true. No, that's a true story. It is a true story.
Wearing
it
the
was
shirt
great.
right now. I just noticed that you're wearing that shirt right now.
Thank you. Anyway,
it's good.
Anyway, I could tell, even though JR didn't even flinch, he liked that story.
It was a cool story.
Yeah,
He was just taking it in.
That's a very cool story.
Taking it in.
Mr. Hiller, what developments do we have from yesterday that you wanted to bring up?
All right, so I have a source over there. It gave me 3 things to talk about. Actually 2 are kind of in relation to they're all in relation to the broadcast. So they're all things that you can see on the broadcast. The first one to talk about is Cole Sager. And just we brought this up where you kind of don't know what's going on. It was in relation to last week. Somebody was finishing it was Will Warad who had finished the event, and you didn't know he was in first place. And then all of a sudden he catapults into 5th. And it was actually a pretty big moment that wasn't caught on camera. And in the handstand walk GHD sit-up workout yesterday, Cole Sager was in a certain spot where the judge should have had their hand in the air, which is what they do when they do the last 5 to 10 reps of the movement, and the judge didn't have their hand in the air. Then the announcers didn't know to then be talking about it. So the cameras weren't on the judges, and Cole Sager ended up finishing in a spot that kind of had some effect on the leaderboard. And there was a little bit of talk about that at the event, how that judge missed that. And that's something that you wouldn't really think about, but it's something that is worth discussing. That was one of the things, not the biggest thing. So I suppose I should get into the second part.
Wait, what? So the point there, Hillers, is that we're missing some stuff. The same way in the 2008 CrossFit Games, I missed Jason Kalipa winning and fucked the whole movie up. Every second counts.
Correct. So apparently the broadcast team will look for the judges to be raising their hands in the air so they know which athletes to feature. Because the judge missed raising their hand in the air for the final repetitions from Sager, they missed him finishing on that event.
Okay.
In relation to the field, that is. So he had no idea he was crossing.
I saw one of those today in one of the heats too, by the way. In one of the heats, the guy who won, they didn't announce it until he was up on the stage. I can't remember, but go on.
The second one is Tyler Christoffel. In that same event, he was given a no rep on a handstand walk, and he just kind of did what he was supposed to do. The no rep he was given was an unjustified no rep, and this is happening on a couple of sides of the spectrum, but I believe the judge said that his hand had touched the line, so they sent him back to the beginning because they had to be done in unbroken segments. So rather than argue with the judge, he just did the entire event, finished it up, and on the feed, you'll see that he finished at 10:22. And then if you go check the leaderboard right now, his time is 10:07. So what happened, and we talked about this yesterday, was the appeals process. We talked about it with the rope climb. So because he went to the briefing, saw the event, he had the right to appeal his workout, and they took time off of his score. Because you can see on the workout that 15 seconds, they gave it back to him for just kind of doing what he was supposed to do. And because he was given a no rep, that shouldn't have been a no rep.
I've always loved the leadership at CrossFit, the integrity, the class, the fairness. I've stood behind it. Well, you guys sit here and poo-poo it. I will not tolerate it anymore.
Do you think that's
James Townsend's in the chat?
Do you think
that's not James Townsend? Just like that. That's not Tommy Marquez. Just like that's not Fikowski. Thanks.
So we don't think that's the real James.
No,
Townsend.
That's not the real James Townsend.
No, that is him.
Oh, it is.
I was talking to him.
How can you tell by that vein on his forearm?
Exactly, that one vein.
You think that was Wilson's doing that appeal process, or do you think that was CrossFit?
It's hard to say, but I'd have to say it's probably CrossFit. I don't want to give them all that much credit, but I have to, I guess, if it seems that it would be a CrossFit move. And then I could piggyback what I'm going to say.
Let's ask him. That was Tyler. Who was that again? Tyler Christoffel. Let's ask him.
Yeah, that was Tyler.
And that's a Mayhem athlete. So we have a couple sources over there.
Correct.
I'll get to the bottom of that. Oh, maybe we can send him a link now. I have his number. Okay, go on.
All right, so that was an example where an athlete was given something unjustly and then they got time back, which we don't hear very often. And then we also talked about yesterday was the chest to bars and the team event, how everybody and their freaking brother could see that they were not synchronized and the judge was giving them reps that weren't supposed to be given to them. And in that situation, the only teams that would have been upset would have been the teams like Mayhem Independence, which finished second due to it. And the only appeals that you can make are on your own score. You can't make appeals on other people's scores.
Correct.
So in this instance, everyone's like, they got to do something about it. But the only people who could then do something about it would have been the team that won that event. And like, why in their right mind would they ever go back and say, yeah, don't give us those reps. We shouldn't have finished first. That was team Camo Athletics. So like, they're not going to go and say, hey, take their score down. And Mayhem Independence can't say anything about another team saying that they should have won. And that's just kind of, it makes sense because then you have teams everywhere saying, hey, they did this. And it just opens up a whole can of worms that the entire thing is saying that the judges are basically doing a pretty good job this week. And by pretty good, I mean, there's a couple of instances where they're blatantly not doing it right, but 95% of the time they've been doing a good job this weekend. And I'd like to see if you guys agree that you see a lot of no reps being given out, like do no reps, the right no reps.
Do you get credit for that?
I don't think I get credit for that. No, I think that I actually think at this level, the judges do a pretty good job. And again, the same source says that these judges are now 6 to 12-year veterans, and some of which have come from the Torian all the way over here on their own dime. So they take it rather seriously. And it's unfortunate to an extent when you see that chest to bar thing going wrong, because that's one judge and everyone's now all caught up in it. And I brought up the comments section yesterday. The comments was riddled for like an hour after that happened. Like everyone just kept on talking about that. But in the meanwhile, every other judge was doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing. And it was just one judge's mistake.
I was going to say, I think it's also so hard to judge some team movements and think about, to a degree, a judge's ability to get the experience judging team workouts versus how easy it is to sit in your affiliate and judge a single individual. Again, I think you solve the problem if you pay them. But overall, I think at this level, the judges do an amazing job. And I was also wondering, what if you gave each athlete one challenge, kind of like they do in other sports? If you go to your workout briefing, you give each athlete has one challenge over the course of a 6-event weekend. And if you want to use that for the guy you fucking hate, so be it.
Oh,
I like that idea.
You can charge. Did you say you
could just come up with that?
Yourself or someone
Yeah,
else?
you like that? Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Exactly.
That's
You can
great.
challenge yourself. You can challenge a score on yourself or someone else. But it's not your appeal. So like you have your appeals for your own scores and your own discrepancies, and you also get one challenge, kind of like timeouts versus a challenge in the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL.
If you appeal a bad score on your own workout, but then you see someone else in a prior heat to you is like not touching both heads of the dumbbell to the floor, and you want to challenge their score because it affects your time.
That's a fucking great rule. The only question is
just real quick, James, please check your DMs. I just sent you a direct message. Would that cost money to do that?
No, well, how would it cost? I don't know.
It would be exactly the same as them looking at Tyler's score and saying, "Here, you get 15 seconds."
But it's just
so the other day I wanted to. It's basically just so people don't do it for that reason, to be vindictive.
But here's the thing: if they do it to be vindictive, they still have to approve it. So if I hate some competitor and I'm like, fuck that, I'm going to challenge their time, but they move well, my challenge is irrelevant and I just wasted it.
Right. Okay.
But if I'm doing it to be vindictive and it gets approved, well, then he must have been doing something, moving in some sort of way or skirting some sort of standard for it to be approved. So it doesn't matter how you use it. They still have to approve it.
Hey, shit. And then we can just get rid of all the judges and everyone just work out on the honor system. No one, we don't even need judges.
Mr. Townsend.
Mr. James.
James Townsend. What's up, brother?
What's up? Hold on.
Hey, James, do you know everyone on here in the yellow shirt? Andrew Hiller, the guy who looks like a thumb with a mustache is Taylor Self.
Yeah.
The only handsome guy on here is J.R. Howell. He doesn't smile. And the guy with the big old smile is Matt Souza.
What's up, guys?
What's going on,
How
Dave?
are you?
What's up, man?
Where did you get this guy? Where did this guy come from? This Mr. Tudor, Magda Tudor Magda.
I saw him at the 2018 games when I had a teen athlete competing in the games in the 14-15. And then I saw him at Pitt Fitness Ranch 2020. And he won it there when I was training Mal, coaching Mal, and then she won it. So then he had the West Coast Finals last year. He placed 21st, and then last August he hit me up. It's like, hey, I like what you're doing. I love your faith. I want to connect with you, so let's do this. And I was like, all right, cool.
I love your face. He said, I love your face.
Your faith.
Oh, your faith. I was like, well, okay, yeah, I like that too. Okay.
So
yeah, okay.
So he, I just put it plain simple. I was like, look, I'm going to give you me. I don't need to be in the forefront. This is not about me. I don't need no money, anything. I give you me. All I ask is that you just give me your effort.
Where did he live?
University. I mean, he lived in Seattle, Washington, and at the time, he was in school for mechanical engineering.
And then where's home for you?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Holy cow! So he moved to Iowa.
Yeah, he moved. He put school on hold and
Awesome.
and came to focus on this full time.
Is that the only way someone can train with James Townsend? Is they have to move and be in your presence?
Nope.
No, they can do online too.
Yeah. Well, you saw one of my athletes, Jalen Franklin. You saw him do that 290 snatch.
I work out with Jalen. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
James, what do you say to people that would say, "Oh, if you go train with James Townsend, you're just going to get strong, and your cardio, and your metabolic capacity is going to suffer"?
Just look at my resume. I mean, there's an athlete that
obviously not.
There's an athlete that I coached that got 7th in the games last year. So, and
Hey,
then,
James, in the comment section the other day, I brought up the fact that you're likely, or not likely, but there's a very good chance that you're going to be the first coach to have back-to-back rookies of the year, and it's looking that way at this point.
It's a very good chance, man. I mean, I tell my athletes, and I told my athlete this last year, I was like, you're not going to the games to participate.
Fucking right.
You're going there to compete. Everybody, put on that, oh, I made it to the games and I'm thankful for me. Nah, scratch that. You're coming there to compete.
I like how serious your eyes get. Is that the thing? Some people say that you're too hard on your athletes. Is that where they get that?
No.
Where do they get that? Have you heard that? Have you heard that chatter? James is too hard on his athletes?
Nah, I never heard that before. What I heard is James is too soft on his athletes.
Good.
Because the thing is like, I didn't like coaches, being hard on me, like football coaches, grabbing your face mask, screaming in your face and everything. I didn't do well with that. I had an anger problem coming up, so I would get mad at that. So by me being a parent, I don't even talk to my kids like that. So when I'm training the athletes, I don't like to use any foul language. I don't like to scream or nothing, none of that. If you don't give me an effort and I see that you're not giving me effort and you're pouting, all I'm gonna ask is that you leave the gym. Leave the gym for that day, clear your head out, come back in. I'm not gonna do no screaming, no nothing, because there's no room for that.
Off subject a little bit, but are your kids homeschooled?
No. Well, my 8-year-old P, she's on the verge of having to be homeschooled.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I think that's best. Do they see so you have 2 daughters. Do your daughters see these parade of world-class athletes roll through? What's the name of your gym?
The Brave One Gym.
The Brave One Gym?
Yeah, the Brave One Gym, and then Lion Brave CrossFit is the affiliate.
Do your kids get intimate exposure to this parade of just insane athletes that roll through there?
Oh yeah. We started off when I got into CrossFit in 2014. I started at Dogtown CrossFit. So we saw Sam, we saw Ruth Harrell, Noah, Lindsey
Is
Brown.
that,
Yeah.
who's the owner of that gym? Is that Dusty Highland?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're a California dude?
Well, I moved out there in 2010.
Just to train there?
No. Basically, just to I was done playing football, so I needed to find my identity as a person. So I needed to leave home, and my wife, she's a financial advisor, so she was moving out from Minnesota to California, so I followed her out there.
You're a good dude. When you say what kind of name is that? And what's his first name? Is this I use whatever name. Is his name Magda Tudor or Tudor Magda?
Tudor.
Yeah.
What
kind of name is that?
Romanian.
Cool. And does he have an accent or is he born here?
No, he moved here when he was 2. He has somewhat of an accent. It's pretty heavy. But I mean you wouldn't really know until you really, talk to him and listen. His parents have an accent, his mom and dad do, but I think Tudor caught on to the American lifestyle.
God, I wish he was Armenian instead of Romanian. When you say he was attracted to you because of your faith, what does that mean? Like he saw like stuff that you wrote on Instagram, the way you treated your daughters. What did he see? How did he know about your faith?
Well,
by faith, you mean your faith in God, like you're a Christian.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not a Christian. No,
not a Christian.
I try to stay away from them labels. I just, I have a personal relationship, and I wear my heart on my sleeve the best way I can. So, and I like to be transparent. I like to be transparent about my faith. I mess up, I get upset, I curse, I get angry. I'm not a fair weather, quote unquote, believer. So he appreciated that. He liked that I was always praying for my athletes. I don't know if anybody saw that last year, but I pray for my athletes. That they go in there with confidence, that they come out to be the best that they can be, and then whether if they do bad or good, they learn from it. So that's and that's what he was attracted to. I guess he didn't get that before from previous coaches, but it's what allowed us to gel and for him to do what he was able to do at Syndicate last week. Are you at the MACC right now? No. I'm at my gym. I have a teen athlete. I have 2 teen athletes right now. In the 14-15. One is in the 8th place, male, and the other one, Kaya, she's in 24th, and she got to do her 4th and 5th workout today. Will you be going to the games with Tudor? Yes. Yeah. Yep. Is there anything that you can do in this short time that can make him better? It's more, I find myself being more of a mental coach. I always say if I can make you mentally and emotionally better, the physical is going to come. It's not, anybody can go ahead and train the physical all day, but once that mental kick in, and if you can't handle that, then, it's lights out for you, game over. But if I can make you at least 1 to 2% better mentally and emotionally every day, sky's the limit. What do you mean if you can't handle that? The mental training? Yeah. So I tell my athletes, like, not only are you training your physical, but you need to train your mental too. You need to be able to push, when you're feeling uncomfortable, when that pain is creeping in. Are you going to go right and persevere over it? Or are you going to go left and be like, man, I can't do it. This hurts. I'm tired. We all felt like that before, but can you persevere over it? Can you push through it? When Brooke got, I don't know if you were watching, but Brooke Wells took 23rd in the rope climb event. She got stopped on the 10th rope climb. Then she made a second attempt and she failed that attempt. And then did she make her 3rd attempt, guys? She made her 3rd attempt. When she crossed the finish line, what would you say to her as a coach? She took 23rd. I would let her know, that's it's probably somewhere to where she she probably had a problem with going into training. So I would tell my athlete, this is something that we expected, something that we need to work on, going further on our pull strength and most importantly, just being able to handle those failures in that moment. You know what I mean? You're allowed, I tell my athletes, you're allowed to be frustrated, but only frustrated for a short amount of time. Because in football, if you miss a pass or something, or you don't get a first down, you got to have short-term memory because there's still more plays to be made in the game, right? So it's kind of the same thing in CrossFit. Hey, short-term memory. Let's learn from this. Let's shake it off. Okay, there's more workouts to be done.
It's interesting. I think that's what J.R. Taylor was also saying. Like, we don't know what she knew before she coming into this, and probably she knew.
Right. Right.
My last question for you is if someone when you look at an athlete like Haley Adams, she has fucking everything except one tiny thing.
Yeah.
Could you fix that for her? Could she come to you? You like this, Hiller? I know. I started chubbing up when I thought of this question. Could she come to you and be like, James, I'd like to put a few pounds on my front squat?
Absolutely. I tell people it's all about the technique, man. The better your technique is in Olympic weightlifting, the more weight you're gonna lift.
Is it too late for her? Is she too old?
No, not at all. It comes down to the technique and it comes down to the program.
And do you guys have any questions for Mr. Townsend? Don't be scared.
Hey, Hiller, I need a gray.
I no joke. So we were talking in the comment section yesterday, right? Yeah. I talked to Travis right away. I'm like, all right, James says he needs a gray shirt. Gray with what lettering?
Black, no rep. Like
gray and black.
Done.
Yeah. Done. I'll let him know right
away. Like a Heather Gray with a black no rep.
Can do. All right.
Yeah.
Come on my podcast and ask for a T-shirt from a guy from another podcast. James Townsend, you are a giant amongst men's. I love you, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man.
Awesome to talk to you.
Thank you. And then once the season get done away with, I would love to come on your show fully.
Yeah. Awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, tell Tudor good luck.
Yeah, right, tell him we love him. Tell him we love him.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, James.
Later.
He came on your show, Sevan. What do you think? Finally, we got him.
I've never even come on my show.
Your head.
Oh my goodness, I'm tickled.
I'm what?
Tickled. I just can't believe we had James Townsend on. I'm tickled.
Dude, James is the man.
I want to savor it.
Dude. Like, did you see the amount of good dude comments that came in on the side here?
So many.
Every single person's like, hey, you need to have him on again, and he's the man.
Yeah,
he got good vibes. He got good vibes.
I love when he talked about the mental side of that, because oftentimes we've seen a lot of these athletes that just crush it in training or these different things that they just can't seem to put it together on the competition floor. And I particularly remember that first time that Tia had a lot of exposure. I forget exactly if it was behind the scenes or one of the movies. And she was probably like the least confident we've ever seen her. Like when she was wearing the leader's jersey, she's like, it won't be on long, and saying all these things. And at some point between that year and the next, as her confidence got better, her mental game got stronger. She just catapulted to the top and has sat there ever since. So.
Hiller was talking about stuff yesterday, and one of the things also that we should point out that happened yesterday is Danielle Brandon did PR her complex yesterday. So some people were saying they were disappointed in what she lifted, but I did hear that was her PR. Susie, could you bring up the team events? It looks like we were talking over team event number 4. Maybe we can see the placement.
The leaderboard's not updated yet, but
okay.
You guys could take a guess at who won that event if you want to just take a guess.
Coda CrossFit Ironview. I'm guessing Mayhem Independence won. That was that's just the team that I've been following all weekend.
I've also got a lot of messages about Colton Merton's girlfriend is on one of these teams, CrossFit Kilo.
Kilo 2.
Kilo 2.
Shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Merton's girlfriend.
That's my new favorite team.
They're in 6th right now.
All right, we'll pit your team against my team, Sevan. They're right next to each other. Dakota CrossFit Iron View versus Kilo 2.
Before we leave, let's talk about how the men's rope event finished. Mora was I think he went from basically first to fifth. It was extremely close. We kind of learned something there about Scott Panchik. First, we realized he's strong. Then we realized he has an engine. And in event number 3, we realized he's a super competitor. We're seeing all the pieces of him come together.
Are you saying
already.
Scott or Saxon?
But both. Don't get sorry, I'm saying Saxon. Did I say Scott? I apologize. I mean Saxon. Yeah. We also did see Spencer pull his shit together too at the last second there. But what we're seeing from Saxon now is something, the whole package. He's putting it all on display with us. Do you have any thoughts on that, JR?
Yeah, it's I was thinking about this watching that event. You know, if you just had to make 3 events, right? And it was like 3 events, like really old school at the ranch, 3 events for total fitness. And you're going to have like a classic triplet, kind of like event 2. You're going to have a classic couplet, like maybe with a gymnastics limitation, like the rope climb. And then you're going to have a strength event. And through these first 3, like Saxon looks really, really fit in all aspects.
Oh, Taylor, Andrew, did you hear that? It almost sounded like JR was complimenting the program.
I know.
Almost.
And I had a hard time thinking anything other than he's right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about this from a standpoint that if you did have to do only 3 and you're like, all right, well, we need something gymnastics, we need classic CrossFit, and we need a lift. You know, Saxon's really kind of showing that he doesn't have a hole, like what Taylor said on the preview show. You know, he's like, that's what he kept saying. Saxon's going to win it. He just doesn't have a hole. He just doesn't have a hole.
And the other thing that I am really happy to see is that the one thing I was wondering about him is that he take the next step mentally in terms of being aggressive and fighting. He clearly showed that on Midline Sadness, the event 2 yesterday, and he showed it again today. Racing with Luis Oscar Mora. I think he came out way hot, and Saxon was like, fuck that, I'm fitter than you. You can go out hot and I'm still going to beat you from the start.
Okay, so this one thing too. Listen to this one thing too about yesterday's event too. We didn't really get to talk about it, but it was watching the race between Noah and Saxon.
Yeah.
And you're watching them side by side, and we were wondering if being at Proven was going to make a huge difference. You know, being around Shane, being around Tia, and it's about the little nuances of things, right? As small as loading plates. Now, after the set of 20 overhead squats, Noah got done maybe 1 or 2 reps ahead. He started loading plates. Saxon got done. He started loading plates. Saxon had loaded his barbell and was trotting down to start the handstand walk ahead of Noah. From that point, he never relinquished the lead.
And he didn't. Yeah.
Just loading plates 5 to 10 seconds faster. Like, he got that lead. He kept it on the GHDs, and then he finished out the overhead squats. So it can be something as small as that sometimes where you make your move.
And he also saw Noah breaking the handstand walk and was like, I'm going to walk right past him.
Yep.
So I love it. I think we're seeing that killer instinct from Saxon. And, man, I think he probably picks up another win, potentially 2 on the weekend.
Yeah, that was the moment for me is when Noah broke halfway through that handstand walk coming back and shook it out, and Saxon just kept on going right past him. That was the shift. That was his workout, and I think that confidence will bring him to a first place finish at the end of the weekend too.
Souza, when you were making that analysis, I was cracking open my second Monster and mixing it with Tito, so I appreciate you giving me a heads up on that.
You had not 1 but 2 Monsters.
Let's well, actually, I probably didn't even have a half, but I opened 2 cans and someone took them.
It was for promotional purposes only.
I want to go back to what you were saying about him and Mora. So the general conventional wisdom we hear from CrossFit athletes is stay in your own game. That's what we saw. That's how Cindy Mikulishin won. There is a chance what we saw with Saxon, I can't remember I think it was Taylor's analysis, was fuck you, I'm fitter than you. I don't need to stay in my game. I'll just go. And I like that. That's like Fraser Froning Tia stuff, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's only a handful of people that are fit enough to do that, and there are a lot of guys at the games level who are fit enough to do that in particular workouts. But there's a handful of people that are fit enough to do it often. I think Rich is one of them. Matt's one of them. Tia is one of them. And we will see this year if Saxon is one of them. I think in that event, Saxon knew what he could do, and he probably could have started a little slower and still ended up with the same result and pushing the later rounds. But he saw that guy going out hot. At least I like to think he was thinking, fuck that.
Yeah.
We know that's what you're thinking. You said that with the Phil Muscarella on that thruster workout at the Granite Games, right? It's like, fuck you, you're not fitter than me. I thought that was hilarious.
But I made a mistake there. He wasn't fitter than me because he blew up way worse. But I should have stayed in my lane.
You would go ahead, JR. Were you gonna say something?
No.
Okay. I'd also like to point out maybe two other athletes that I think maybe Sam Briggs had that in her youth, that maybe she lost a little bit as she got older. But also, how about Cara Saunders? Even if she can't keep up, she fucking crossed the finish line at the CrossFit Games unconscious.
Yeah. Fuck me, I'm not fitter than me.
Yeah. I mean, she augured in. She doesn't. I mean, like one of those planes, like in a Godzilla movie or King Kong movie that just plows into the field.
Fuck
Nuts.
me. Fuck me. I'm not.
Yeah, fuck me. Yeah, I'm fitter than me. I mean,
thank you guys. Thank you. I get one.
Okay. So we're tickled by Saxon, right? I mean, this is.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Do we all see him now? This is I guess we have to see what happens now at the Granite Games. But Saxon's looking at this is so far, I know we're only 3 in, but one of the most promising athletes we have in the field now to sort of challenge Medeiros, right?
Dallin Pepper.
Okay, great.
I think Dallin at the games as well in that format, 15 events.
These dives that these guys are doing, these foot first dives that like we saw Dallin do to take 3rd place and beat Mora.
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
And Spencer, we do hate it? We hate that.
Oh, it's so stupid. I mean, put the buttons out there. I mean, I guess there's also a risk with the buttons. I was a fan of the buttons.
I don't hate it. I don't think it's that risky.
Well, they're sliding into a goddamn metal fence.
Yeah, but if you've ever played baseball,
slide into a metal fence.
Yeah, but if you've ever played baseball, I mean, you slide into the base, and a lot of times you slide into the base and pop up. So I don't think that
these are CrossFitters who can't throw a baseball. They don't know how to baseball slide.
Well, I will say the Panchiks know how to baseball slide. They do it really fucking well.
Well, that's 2 people. Then you've got the guy who's taking out the front end of the stadium with his foot because he's messing with the stage.
Is there a reason to practice that? Do you think, Taylor, do you practice that at all? Do you get the foot where the chip is on across? Do you slide? Like
I played baseball my whole life. So I don't need to practice it, but I don't know that I would think I don't know. Some events have button timers, and it's something well, I mean, you didn't also really ever see Matt do it either because he was beating people by enough time where he didn't need to slide across. So it's
walked across.
Saxon, I would say Saxon, yes, last year at Granite Games made really good use of that slide. He did it almost in every finish, and you have guys like that are, the little things add up. So potentially it's worth it to practice. I also don't think that you need to spend a lot of time on that in your training.
Souza, can you show that clip again of the guy who jumps early?
He also wasn't sliding. He was jumping.
I know. Yeah. That's what's. Goodness.
What a day.
I also just don't. What's the platform there for? Why do they have to have the?
They want it like the games.
I know.
What do you mean? Why have it raised? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well, because someone said it's a baseball slide into a 3-foot platform. So why do they have a 3-foot platform? That wasn't something they had back in regionals. Here we go. Andrew's talking about regionals again. It was just a freaking get onto the finish mat. Yes, time. And you know what was after the finish mat? I don't know, 15 feet of clear space.
Yeah, that's a good point. This guy also asked, do you get to pick which ankle the chip timer is on? And you do. You just stick whichever ankle you want it on up to the volunteer who's strapping it on your leg, and they put it on. They don't tell you which leg. So you can choose. But I also think the buttons are better. Especially, man, someone posted a video of these. I don't remember what company it had, but they had these live chip timers that had your live time on the pylon. It had like a little screen on the pylon. It was a company that came out with these, and I thought those were sick. So
with the button?
Yeah, with a button. It basically had a master device that controlled all of them. So 3, 2, 1, go, and all of these pylons have the times on them, and they all start. And then as soon as you get to your pylon, you hit the button, your time stops. So not only does it feed it to the leaderboard, but the judge can also see it on your pylon.
It's so simple and so easy. It's almost like they should do it and stop trying to use the Ironman thing.
Exactly.
Where they're using their legs the whole time, so it makes sense that the leg would be the indicator for when you're done.
We are about to start a grueling 3-hour session of workouts. I think the time cap on these is 25 minutes. It's individual event for
the MACC
the MACC mile. It's probably a good time to run back and watch the team events for. We will be back at 1:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks everyone for checking in. James Townsend, thanks for poking your head out. That was really awesome.
Good dude.
Taylor, JR, Hiller, Souza.
Adios.
Enjoy. Are you guys all going to be back?